Hello, my name's RedAjex, and today we're going to be doing a Hearts of Iron 4 tutorial. I have a little over 800 hours on this game, and my friend, he has 60, and I wanted to help him learn how to play the game. So, we're going to be doing a tutorial. I'm going to be playing as Italy, and I'm going to be fascist. So, Italy starts off at war with Ethiopia. They are very weak, and you have to try to lose against them. It is difficult to lose against them. So what I just did there was I selected the divisions, and I put them in an army group. So use that to organize divisions. To select the divisions, you can either click on them or drag your cursor and select them. You can click on individual ones and put them in army groups and stuff. So I've seen new players, and I want to talk about like moving around on the map. So to move around, you have to use your middle click. And when I first play it, and when I see other new players play, they always try to do it with their left click. So it might take some time getting used to it. And just so you know, the more you do it, the more you get used to it. So over here, we have all my divisions in Italy and Libya. Right now, we don't care about these at all. So we're just going to put them in its own army group. We'll deal with that later. Up here, we have our notifications. We want to get rid of most of these. Of course, they're going to be up here pretty often. So if you can't get rid of all of them, then that's fine. So our first one is research slots. Different countries have different amounts of research slots, and research can be pretty important. So I'm going to go through every single one and briefly explain them. So this: infantry, guns, motorized, special forces, support companies, just extra damage, extra stuff. You can worry about this a little less. Tanks, pretty self-explanatory. Artillery, anti-air and anti-tank. Land doctrine. They're just bonuses for attacking. Navy, research, naval doctrine, air, you can research planes, air doctrine, same as land doctrine and naval doctrine, just some extra damage, extra air firepower. Engineering, over here we have nuclear, but this starts at 1940, so we suffer a research penalty if you try to research this. So what engineering does is it gives you slightly faster research speed. It's just 3%, but having 20-25% like stacked up over time really adds up. So it's important that you go for research bonuses. Industry, basic machine tools. It gives you extra production efficiency cap, which is the max amount of production you can get for a certain production line. And that's good because you can produce more guns. You can outproduce your enemies, and you can, if you have a ton of guns, you can just throw them away. Construction, build things faster. You can build factories and armament factories faster. I'm gonna go for artillery. Yeah. So construction. So you can build infrastructure, air bases, anti-air, military factories, civilian factories, dockyards, fuel silos, naval bases, land forts, coastal forts. The forts are pretty explanatory. The bases, they give you supply and they help you transport navally. Fuel silo adds more fuel capacity. It's a little complicated, but basically, when you use your Air Force, your Navy, or motorized vehicles, you use a little bit of fuel, and they'll start to slow down. They'll start to be less efficient, and having a little more fuel, like capacity, helps. Dockyards produces ships, convoys. Convoys are used for naval invasions, trade, and supply. Military factories produces guns, planes, tanks. Civilian factories build stuff. So if you want to build civilian factories, you can build more things. Right now we have 11 free ones. And you want to have as many civilian factories as possible. Military factories. Right now Italy has an okay amount of civilian factories. You will conquer things. You will conquer countries that are building civilian factories, so we don't have to build any of our own. So I say for Italy, just build sorry about that. Just build military factories, because Italy needs guns and supply its troops. So if we look here, consumer goods is basically the civilian factories that aren't doing anything. They're just give back to your populace, just doing nothing, worthless. We have 25% civilian, which means 25% of the 50 overall factories we have is just going to waste. So we want to get modifiers that limit the amount of consumer goods so we can build more things, and we will have higher amounts of civilian factories to build things. So here is where just the buffs you get. You can highlight your cursor over this and just see how many buffs you have. This is available for construction. Over here, if you have a lot of resources, people can buy for you and trade your resources for civilian factories. So these are the military factories. For Italy, I want to make tanks. Italy is very weak, and this isn't worth it. So I'm going to build some artillery. Artillery adds soft attack, which is just attack that is for infantry and cavalry, and basically soft things like human beings. Air is always good. You always want to be making air. I made the mistake of just canceling everything and just making guns. You don't want to do that. You want to diversify. So you don't have to put a lot, just a little bit. I'm going to cancel support equipment. I think it's not that good. Maybe if you're Germany and you have more factories. So we're going to cancel... Alright, so for Navy... if you want, you can build these ships. I don't like to. They take years to build, and I don't think it's worth it. If it's almost done like this, then I would go for it. Put a little more dockyards on it. What for Italy, what I recommend is submarines. Submarines are great. They're really easy to make and mass produce compared to other naval equipment. And they're good for convoys, intercepting and stopping other countries from having a lot of convoys and supply. So if you're fighting, I don't know, against Japan, you can just put tons of submarines around their coast, destroy all their convoys, and all of their stuff in China will just be completely undersupplied. So up here is the amount of military factories, and it'll say how many you are using out of the total amount you have. So I am using up all of my dockyards, all of my military factories. Over here, this is the amount of dockyards allocated for repair. I'm going to put 10 because the max level port you can have is 10, and so it uses 10 dockyards. So what happens is that if the ship gets damaged, it will go to a dockyard and it will repair. And then once it's done, it will go back to building ships. So you can put as many as you want on them, and then when the time comes, it'll use them. So this is what it's called. What's called a focus tree. A focus tree is just the path you go down, and you can go down and befriend Yugoslavia, make a faction with Bulgaria, make your own faction without Germany, or you can just go down the historical path and then take over Greece and stuff. Italy does not have the best focus tree. I will say, I think with the newest edition, probably Bulgaria, Romania, and Turkey, they have great focus trees. Like, they have these extensive focus trees, especially Spain. Spain, Portugal, great focus trees. So they all usually take around 70 days, and they vary. However, they do vary. So some of the less significant ones, will not be 70 days. Yeah, this one takes 30 days. So there's an example of that. So if you highlight over it, there's prerequisites. So this one, you need to be either puppeting Ethiopia or just own them. And since we're still at war with them, we can't do this focus. So we're going to go down Ethiopian War Logistics. This is our Air Force. These planes over here, we can't use them. I'm just going to select them all by dragging my cursor over it and just deleting it. I don't need to worry about that right now. So I'm just going to put all those planes in my reserves to deploy them later. These ones over here, I'm going to use them for invading Ethiopia. So the number you have over here is fine for conquering them, but you can always add new air wings and just add them from your reserves. So if you highlight over this, you can see what types of them they are. Starting here, you get 40 fighters, 32 tactical bombers, and 48 close air support. What fighters do is provide air superiority and interception. And you want to give it a role. You just click on the air wing and then give it what you want it to do, and then select where you want it to go. You can also do multiple, but I don't recommend it because it lowers its efficiency. So for tactical bomber, it's good for strategic bombing, which is basically destroying infrastructure and factories. And you can click this and target specific things. It's a little complicated. I won't go over that now. Close air support gives extra attack and attack bonuses when you're attacking. Yeah. So we're just gonna put them over Ethiopia. We won't worry about Navy right now. Navy's complicated. I recommend just practicing Navy on your own. I might do a separate tutorial if I want.
Pronto.
So what I just did there was I made a front line. Front lines basically is just your units will walk to the border and they'll just stand there. So it's just good if you want to defend or get ready to attack someone. So what you want to do is just click here. It'll have this icon. You want to click on it and then click on the border you want to go on. You can do it on any border if you're at war with them or not. This right here is the delete order. Or you could right click and you can drag the front line. So if you want to do it only on this side, we want to make another one and assign half of them or so, you can do that. So we're going to select all of them and put them on this border. And we're going to click on this. It's called an offensive line. And what that does, it just tells your units to move there. So once I click this, it'll tell them to go, and then it'll automatically attack and try to move to this. And you can highlight over this, and this is basically the plan. And we'll follow this out.
Ordini.
Same thing with this.
Formazione.
Or you can do the spearhead. I think you have to have DLC to do this, but what it does, it's more direct. It's good for tanks and just marching towards like certain cities and stuff.
Attento.
So
Ordini.
I'm gonna put these in an army group. You can use army groups for organizing things, or what I use them for is assigning a field marshal. The field marshals give slight bonuses, and every bonus counts in this game. So you can assign these generals. Generals have skill levels. They're varying in skill, and they usually have better attack, but that not necessarily. So you can always use a low level general and get it to level 9, but you just have to get a lot of experience. So we're gonna assign Messi. He's level 4 and he has pretty good attack.
Pronto, signore.
And over here we're gonna give him Ugo Cavallero. And we don't have to give the general to this one because it's just to the side. We'll organize that later. So you can, over here is the game speed. You can just put anything you want. So immediately we're winning because our troops are just completely like equipped, and theirs are under equipped. They do not have the strength to withstand us at all. So we're basically fine. We have green air. Green air gives us great bonuses. You can click on the battle and see how well you are doing. So they get a debuff, and we get a buff. And since we're attacking from two sides here, we get a bonus. Also, if you want to tell your troops what to do, you can just select it and right click like this. But you can do that later when you want to micromanage them. So I'm going to show you guys how to micromanage a little bit once I break here in the northern front. Oh, let me... yeah, I'm missing support equipment because I canceled that, but I don't really care. Decisions. You can click this green thing just to make it so it doesn't pop up, which is what I usually do. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about political power. Political power is basically you can use decisions, you can install people to your government to get yourself bonuses. You can add army people who give you army bonuses, air force bonuses, navy bonuses. Of course, you get it very slowly. So either if you're playing on an easier difficulty, you can add more advisors and stuff. So usually what you want to do is just wait until you get enough political power, and then you can get where is he? I don't know if we have one on Italy. I don't think we do, but you want to get someone that gives you more political power so it's easier to get more over time.
Avanti!
Alright, I'm going to micromanage a little bit.
Avanzate!
I'm going to tell this guy, as soon as this guy breaks,
Continuate
he's going to
l'attacco!
keep attacking.
Forza, forza! Avanzate!
Alright. They're going to immediately push here, and then I'm going to tell them to go here. Take these 2 victory points. So what victory points are the cities. They're things that matter, and once you take most of the victory points, their government cannot function and they will capitulate. So Ethiopia, they have all their victory points here, here, and here. And if you click on this, we are at war. You can see how well the war is going. Right now we haven't taken any tiles. We're about to. But you can see that we need 20%, we need 80% of the victory points for them to capitulate and surrender. And then we get a peace deal. So for larger countries, you'll have to split your peace deal among other AI or other players. So if you look at me, you can see a golden bar here, right? What this means is that I'm a major power. And that means if they're at war with multiple people and I'm a major power and there's another minor and they capitulate the minor, the war doesn't end. They have to capitulate the major power. But that's a little more advanced. And so if we look at here, you can see my factories. We have 100% knowledge on me, of course. We have 39 divisions, 50 factories, and 387 people who died. These are military casualties. Fortunately, it doesn't show civilian. Over here, this is the approximate amount of divisions we think they have. We know they have 3 factories. And we did 2.1 thousand military casualties. Over here, we have insufficient resources. Resources, you have to trade 1 civilian factory for a little bit of resources. If you don't get resources, you suffer a little penalty in equipment or like factory output. So it is important that you spend these civilian factories to get a little bit of equipment. Over here is the amount of convoys you need to buy this. So if you are going to get stuff like this, I would go for a lower convoy so it can't be intercepted. So those have no convoys. And then once we unpause, we have no equipment shortages. So it looks like we're winning here in Ethiopia.
Ordini?
So we broke here. This guy immediately started attacking. They're walking down here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attack him with one of my divisions, because attacking your enemy will stop them from moving. They cannot move while you're attacking them. So if you want, you can attack them with one division and use the other or another division to walk around them and encircle them. They will suffer, I think, a 30% like debuff, and they cannot get supply at all without supply and without supply airplanes. I forgot what they're called, but. Alright, so these guys are walking. They're a little too slow, so I'm just going to press Control B, and they will railroad. They will move way faster, 13 kilometers per hour compared to 4. But they suffer huge organization debuff.
Pronto, signore.
So we're going to wait for their organization to pick up.
Pronto.
Alright, we're going to tell them to attack here. And then tell this guy to attack here.
Pronto, signore.
These guys aren't attacking. We don't want them to do that. We don't really care about if we lose lives, because this is a video game. So just attack.
Attento.
As you see, we're losing here in the south. They have a superiority here in the south. And if you click on here, you can see like our national spirits. I'm used to playing Road to 56, so there's usually an army debuff here, but it looks like we're fine. So we have +5 stability, -5% justify war goal. Oh, our focus. So we're gonna keep going down industrial effort.
Forza, forza! Avanzate! Prendete la mira! Avanzate!
Alright, we're about to break them here. I'm gonna tell these guys to immediately attack.
Non fermatevi!
We're gonna tell these guys to immediately
Ordini!
go
Avanzate!
here and attack. Alright, we finished researching that. You can either go radio, which increases reinforce rate. Reinforce rate increases the rate that your reserve divisions goes back into battle. So if you're attacking with a lot of divisions, you can have, let me see, we don't have any reserves here, so I can't really show you an example. Maybe when the Spanish Civil War starts.
Formazione! Avanzate! Sì, signore! Ci respingiamo, signore! Pronto all'azione!
We're gonna keep chasing this guy down. He's really weak, and we're just gonna kick him while he's down.
Pronto!
Alright, this is their capital. If we take this, we win. We've taken all of their other victory points, and this is what counts. If we take this, we win.
Pronto all'azione! Forza, forza, forza!
So we're gonna move all of our divisions here. Just attack.
Continuate l'attacco!
Because when we win this, we win the war. Looks like the other stuff finished, so we're gonna put it on convoys, because convoys are always good. Like I explained earlier, supply, naval invasions, and trade. Oh, it looks like we broke them down here.
Ordini! Continuate ad avanzare! Avanzate! Andiamo!
Looks like we lost the battle over here, but it's fine. We can outproduce them. Over here is the recruit and deploy. So this is the priority where you're when you produce stuff, it goes into here and then it prioritizes them. So upgrades, upgrade equipment, upgrades older equipment, operations, spies and stuff, La Resistance. It's a DLC. So I don't care at all about upgrades and stuff. Garrisons, they're a little more important, so I'm gonna put them on medium. Reinforcements, high. We want them to be completely reinforced. We'll talk about this once we conquer Ethiopia.
Li respingiamo, signore! Attento! Formazione! Preparatevi! Avanzate! Andiamo!
Alright, right here, industry. You can choose between concentrated industry and dispersed industry. And I know what you're thinking. And I know what I thought when I was a beginner. Concentrated industry, right? Produce more stuff. Wrong. This is terrible. +5 factory output compared to this. This has way more butts, way better. There is literally no reason to get this. I don't know why they made this so bad. So just get dispersed. We're gonna get radio. Reinforced rate is great. It is great. If you have a lot of divisions like this, you can have berserks if you have bad reinforcement rate. We want them to be the front lines and attacking. Alright, it looks like the number's ticking up, so I think we're gonna win pretty shortly.
Pronto all'azione!
Immediately since he breaks, we keep attacking. We don't care about how many people we lose. We just want to win. Alright. We took their capital. We wait till midnight. They capitulate. So, what you want to do once you get a peace deal is since we want rubber, right? We're Italy, right? If we release Ethiopia, we don't get anything. We get a bad puppet. So usually just annex them. But since we're in a peace deal with no one, there's no risk of just passing 1,000,000,000 times. In a real peace deal, you can, if you pass, it goes on to the second highest, and then you miss a turn, but you get more war score. War score is the stuff you can grab states. So this state right here is 24. Or alternatively, like again, you can puppet them, which I don't recommend. So I'm just gonna annex them, and then click done. So all our divisions here, they're just chilling. We can leave them here if you want. I really don't recommend that. So I'm just gonna tell them.
Comandi. Attento.
Go here.
Pronto,
what
signore.
Are these doing? We're not allowed to retreat here. We're not attacking anyone. Okay. The game is just being the.
Avanzate.
So, if we want to get these guys back to Italy, we just gotta get them to a port.
Pronto, signore.
Once they're on a tile with a port on them,
Attento.
you have to right-click on this icon, and then they'll transport.
Attento.
So we're gonna remove these guys from Libya as well.
Si, signore.
So these guys, we're just gonna finally organize them. So the max amount of divisions you can have for an army group usually is 24.
Pronto, signore.
So we're just gonna add them to these army groups.
Formazione.
Yes, we
Pronto.
got 1,000 guns. You get a little bit. You get half of their equipment, overall equipment, which is not that
Ordini.
bad, especially if you're attacking like really large countries.
Avanzate.
So we're just gonna put them on railroad.
Comandi.
Control B again. They'll move there pretty fast.
Pronto all'azione.
And since we won against Ethiopia, we can now do the focus Triumph in Africa.
Pronto.
Also, I don't think I explained this earlier, but if you want,
Comandi.
you can right-click and then press Shift right-click to do another movement. So if you want to do these complex ones, you can do that.
Avanzate.
So all
Ordini.
these units are finally here on the support. Move them, and then they'll go.
Pronto.
Alright, they're here in Italy. You can do whatever you want with them. If you click this, you can change the template that they're using. You can disband all units. And I wanted to come back to this. This is the division designer. What you can do is you can use army experience, which is the experience you get from doing combat against enemies. So, since we invaded Ethiopia and we basically slammed right into them with no regard for our lives, we got 57 army experience, which is pretty good. Maximum is 500, so not that bad. So, what I recommend doing is duplicating a division before you edit it because it's free. It's free. There's nothing we can give it its name. We can add more things, whatever. A great army template, which I absolutely recommend for beginners, and what everyone else will recommend you, is what's called a 7-2 division. 7 infantry, 2 artillery. Easy, simple, great soft attack, great HP, great organization. Oops. Oh, man. So I'm going to go over these stats. Max speed, what it does is it gets the slowest unit you have, and it puts that as its max speed. So if you have a ton of light tanks that go 20 kilometers per hour, and then like a cavalry, it will go 6 kilometers per hour, because that's how fast cavalry can go. HP is the total amount of damage it can do before it destroys. Organization, basically, it's basically HP. That's what it is. It's how ready it is to battle. So once you start moving, it will lower its organization, so they're unprepared. Recovery rate is how fast it takes for them to gather organization. Reconnaissance, basically, it's self-explanatory. Just recon. If I had recon companies, you can see a little better units that you're facing. Suppression is basically resistance, so it's good for garrison. Weight, it's heavier. It's when you're transporting units navally and shipping heavier stuff. Uses more convoys. Supply use is the amount of supply it uses for each region. Soft attack is attack against like bodies and soft things. Low defense. Hard attack is against tanks and stuff. Tanks, motorized. Air attack is the damage it does to air stuff. So infantry has none. Defense is the defensive capabilities of the unit. Breakthrough. Once you start attacking, it will have a set number that it starts attacking with. And the higher breakthrough will, so tanks have really high breakthrough. So it'll start off at like 90 and it will win easily. Armor is how much your armor it has. So again, hard attack. Initiative, it will reinforce the battle quicker and will get rid of reserves, which I talked about earlier. Entrenchment. When a unit entrenches, it gets defense bonuses. Equipment capture ratio. Basically, it will pick up the guns off the battlefield and we'll keep them for ourselves. So we get a little bit of the guns if you have equipment capture ratio. Combat width. This is somewhat important. So when you're attacking, again, so if we're attacking from this tile to this tile, we have one space, like one tile to go through. That combat width is 80, which means 240 combat width, 420 combat width. So it is efficient to have 20 and 40 combat width, but they aren't necessary. Manpower, the total number of men you have in that division. Training time, how long it takes. For special forces, they are way longer. It takes very long amount of time to get some divisions out. Over here's the equipment that it uses. So it uses 84 artillery per battalion and 700. That's fine. We're going to save it here. It takes 25 army experience. And what we're going to do, we're going to switch all of them to tutorial division. And we have some tank divisions. We start off with 3 tank divisions. But if we look at our tank divisions, they're Italian tank divisions. Come on, they only have like 60 of them. They're useless. They're basically cavalry divisions with a little bit of, with a little more breakthrough. I recommend just going with infantry. We don't have that many military factories yet. We will build them up over a series of years.
Formazione.
So now you're at the point where you can organize your navy and stuff. You can also do that in the beginning of the game. Here's when I would do it, because this is the beginning of the game for Italy. So with that, I think that's going to be the end of this tutorial. I might make other ones if I want to go a little more in depth, but thanks for watching. Have a good one.